right, I will call the meeting to order. This is the Manistee Blacker Airport Authority monthly meeting for July 20th, 2026. Lindsay, please call a roll.
Mr. Walker,
Here.
Mr. Becker,
Here.
Mr. John,
Here.
Ms. Goodman, Ms. Kaminsky,
Yep, I can hear you now. I'm here.
Mr. Picardi, Mr. Schrader.
Yes. Yeah.
All right. Good morning, Cindy. Thanks for checking in with us.
Yep. Sorry I
right,
couldn't be there.
No problem. All right. In front of us is an agenda. Hopefully everybody had a chance to review the agenda. If you would like to approve it, I'll take a motion.
I'll make the motion.
Thank you, George.
Support.
Thank you, Jeff. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, great. Public comment. Anybody from the public would like to comment? We have nobody in the room, nobody online. All right, moving on. We have MS Creative and Mark is here for a marketing update.
All right, appreciate it. I know you guys have a lot to cover today, so I will try to be brief but thorough. In your packet, I believe Miles provided you with the kind of the summary of the SWOT analysis. By design, there's kind of an arrow in the background because this is not a static exercise. It's basically a point where we're at today. Some of these things will change, some of them won't change. It's completely out of our control. But obviously, when it comes to the opportunities and the strengths, those are the things that go into the planning, and pretty easy to kind of pick off there the top priorities. But I just think it's a great exercise to get everybody kind of on the same page and recognizing where we're at from just a 10,000-foot view standpoint. So any questions on that, I would just have you hold on to this and refer to it. And kind of, revisit it maybe in a year and kind of see where those things are at in terms of things changing categories or anything. Not real complicated, but again, I think it's a great place to start in terms of a jumping off point.
Okay.
And then the other thing, we did get the website launched fairly quickly. It's more or less a landing page. We're developing new content for it as we go. The biggest advantage we have right now, other than having very easy ways to update it, is that when you click through to book a ticket, you go directly to the Contour website. There's no Google Flights. There's no ad that says fly cheaper from Traverse City. We will never know how many people we lost because of that, because they've already left the website. So it's all we know is they went to Google Flights, whether they booked through Google Flights or use that information or not. So I did take a look at a snapshot of the website analytics since we launched that page on May 26th. Interesting, about 86 people a day and sometimes well over 100 people a day on the website. Probably the most interesting takeaway on the traffic by location, and again, we haven't done any paid, so this is 100% organic. This is people getting to our website because they've Googled us or found us organically, or gone to the McFly Manistee website, or however they got to us. It happened organically inbound. We didn't put anything outbound to bring them in. So that being said, it's very profound to me that Detroit is squarely in our top 4 destinations, and that just seems to be hey, there's another reason we might want to look at Detroit, because the anecdote is that that's purely organic. We're not trying to lure people from Detroit, but those people are finding our website anyways. It's really, and I don't know why East Lake is on there. There must be an anomaly there. If you put East Lake into Manistee, and that is, some of these stats make you shake your head. But if you put East Lake into Manistee, I mean, more or less, Manistee, Detroit, Chicago, and Traverse City have equal web traffic. And I think that demonstrates that there's pockets of demand out there that, people are finding our service. But that's something I want to keep an eye on, that Detroit connection, because again, that's happening completely on its own. And I find it very interesting.
I think the Detroit connection is for locals.
Well, right, but these are where people are at when they're searching.
Oh, they're
for
from there.
This is where their IP address is from. So no, it has nothing to do with local. It's where people are when they're getting to our website. So I found that to be very interesting. Nothing else really stands out. I did take a look back. Miles was able to provide me with the analytics link to the previous website. They had an ongoing paid social media campaign, and I don't know if that was through the airline or if it was through the CBB or the airport. I don't know if you recall, but on the analytics, it got a ton of traction. It didn't lead to a lot of click-throughs, but it got a ton of impressions. If you back the paid social, our web traffic has been pretty consistent. If I look at either the previous period or the year-to-year period, the analytics are pretty consistent if you back out the paid social. So that's a good thing. There hasn't been a huge sway in anything. Again, down at the bottom, mobile is really important. 63% of our website traffic is on a mobile device. So it's just really important that whatever that click-through process is, and we are now one click away from being on the Contour site to book a flight. And that's really the main purpose of this website, is to get people on the site. And if we're getting 100 people a day, I think that's pretty good. And that's organically, we will be doing some paid search and some, things designed to get more click-throughs, but I like having a baseline with organic traffic because we're not doing anything to skew it. It just gives us a real kind of barometer on where we're at. I think it's a good thing. So any questions on that?
I have a question. So, shame on me for not knowing, but the new webpage, do we have a general aviation landing page?
Yes.
Is it possible to pull the analytics on the general aviation?
Yeah, there's probably not enough there yet to really have much.
Okay.
And again, what are we doing to get people there?
Mm-hmm.
So, what's their reason for going there? I mean, it's generally to find out,
Yeah.
basic information. Long term, absolutely, that we will be able to have a data set. There just really isn't going to be very much there to look at right now.
I guess I'm just interested in having that data point as we make moves and try to grow our general aviation business.
Mhm.
I'm happy to know that we'll be able to see some analytics like
Well, and for example, if you wanted to do some targeting at, other airports or aviation, that hyperlink could be, fly Manistee / GA or general aviation or whatever we title that page.
Okay.
And almost use that as its own landing page in the effort to promote that versus promoting the airline, which the general aviation people don't really care about, But yes, we can do that.
Okay, cool.
What do you mean by unique visitors?
What's that?
Unique visitors?
So unique visitors are the number of actual, people.
To the-
And then the site sessions would mean that of that 3740, the difference, those people came back more than one time. So, you want to look at, one is how many people,
Yeah.
the other is how many times, and then how many page views did that translate to. Right now, we're not expecting a lot of page views because we're really just a landing page to get people on that airline. As we develop out the other content, we'll have a little bit more data to pour through. But right now, we want to make it as easy as we can to get people on the Contour site right now. Any other questions on the?
I have another question. If Manistee Tourism gets Josh and Jace here, you familiar with Josh and Jace, these British guys? I think it would be a good opportunity for us to stick them in an airplane and go on a scenic tour.
Yeah,
So I don't
brilliant.
reach out to them and see
Mhm.
if there's time in the itinerary, considering, they've got the big slide to go down. So
Contact Sammy.
You'll
I think that would be-
contact her?
On each page?
Miles, contact Sammy.
Yeah.
okay,
I don't have their contact.
you don't have Josh and Jace. So-
No.
Okay.
What's our stand at your house? Can't say nothing.
Okay. Sorry, Mark.
Okay, so the other thing, we kind of jumped over our second one on point A, was just going over, we're ready to do the stakeholder survey. And I believe Miles provided you with those questions, and I just want to make sure that we didn't miss anything. I think it's pretty complete. You know, if we can get a 50% return on 150, I think we'd have a nice data set. I think people will be fairly inclined to participate because it's only gonna take about a few minutes to go through it. And the way we'll word our email is that they've kind of been chosen as a stakeholder and that their opinion really matters. Myself, if it's a local initiative like this, I always take the time to, you know, if it's Edward Jones sending me something, I just kind of, they know enough about me. But these local things, I think people are happy to participate, and it'll give us a nice little data set to maybe compare against our SWOT analysis and what we think versus what the public thinks.
You don't need this from us.
No. Well, you'll be on the list if, you know, you're gonna get sent it, you're happy to, you know, be a part of the data set, but.
Is there a benefit to having a survey where we can collect the data set from our targeted stakeholders and then also put out a public survey?
There is, I would make it much more concise.
Okay.
I would also look at some other ways of getting that out there,
Okay.
just because of our older population, and I don't know what that is. It could be a postcard, it could be a newspaper insert, it could be
Okay.
any number of things. Then you have to compile and tabulate the data. That's the beauty of these online surveys, is it's all right there.
Yeah.
And you can cross tab anything you want, and, you know, it makes, but yeah, I think it's a different survey. I think it's got a different purpose. And I think if you were coming down to the public survey, it's to really help identify honing in a specific service, whereas the stakeholders are gonna give it a little bit more
Mhm.
thought process, I think,
Okay,
if that makes sense.
it does.
Does anybody see anything that we may have missed, or we want to add, or approach differently, word differently? Again, it's pretty straightforward. That we gotta ask the question if we want to get the answer, so that's the gist of it. So with everyone's blessing, that will go out here directly. And then, the beautiful thing about the funds available through the state grants is that we really can get into doing some pretty aggressive marketing for the last half of this year without really impacting the local budget at all. So basically, Mile didn't have this for your packet, so we have with our state grant, about a $45,000 media budget available to us. So I put this plan together. This would basically be a third and fourth quarter plan for utilizing those MDOT Aero funds. Basically, you know, looking at targeting the Traverse City, what we call the DMA, the dominant market area. That's basically the 20 counties that make up the Traverse City television market, if you will, including Cadillac, Manistee. It goes down to Shelby up to the Eastern UP, basically. So broadcast television is still very effective with regards to local news. Good Morning America today. People are very habitual, especially people who are still working. They get up like I do it every day at a certain time and go through their habit. The other area that local broadcast is very strong is in sports. If you want to watch a football game or a baseball game or a golf match, you can't watch it anywhere else. And it doesn't matter how you're getting it. You could be getting it over the air. You could be getting it on satellite. You could be getting it on YouTube TV. That content, those ads are embedded in the local programming. So it doesn't matter how you're getting it. Anybody that's watching that game is being served that ad. So we have a very high penetration. I can answer any details. I've got information on who we're targeting. Overlaying that is streaming television. Obviously, a lot of people are going to that stream. So it's kind of an insurance policy that we're not only reaching them over the air, but we are reaching them on the stream. And those, again, impressions can be targeted by the DMA and by interest level. So we're looking at frequent travelers, weekend getaways, beach trips, and outdoor enthusiasts. If people search those categories, they're more inclined to get our ads than somebody who's shopping for a new car. So I don't care about those people. We're not selling new cars. We then have a local radio overlay, which would complement what Contour is already doing. We would do paid social and then digital display. And those are the ads that when you go around on the internet, kind of follow you around on the internet. And again, they would all be themed the same way. And the benefit to you folks is we don't touch your budget, and we get the benefit of this, these additional funds being, you know, invested in promoting the local air service. I do have, a rough TV spot put together. This is pending approval from Contour. Are you comfortable if I show this, or can you pull it up, or?
Yeah, I don't have it up on there.
Okay, I've got it on my laptop. That doesn't help Cindy, but I can send it to her. Happy to send it over to Cindy. And again, this is pending Contour. I'll put this at the end of the page. Daily chat service from Manistee. I don't know if Cindy can hear me, but I'd be happy to send it to her.
No, I can hear you.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right. I'll send, we're playing the TV spot, Cindy, and I'll send this to you for your benefit, okay?
All right, thanks.
Contour Airlines offers access to O'Hare and over 150 global destinations. Interline agreements with these airlines make for seamless booking and baggage, all on one ticket. Free parking, easy check-in and screening. No hassle. Book your next flight at flymanistee.com. Fly to Chicago with Contour Airlines from Manistee Blacker Airport. Just the facts, but that's what we need to get out there, you know.
It's great.
Everybody good on that if we send that along to Contour for approval?
Yeah.
And then thanks to all who participated in our stakeholder interviews. Those turned out famously. Everybody did great.
Great.
Mission accomplished. Working on getting through those right now, and those will turn into little video vignettes that we can put out on social media and the website. So, and that's the other thing I just want to touch on real quick. So previously, the airport authority or Fly Manistee didn't do a lot proactively on social media. I don't know if you know any anecdotes to that or not, but
That reflects my impression.
okay. So my hunch is that they took that direction because it just becomes a peanut gallery if you have it open for comments, and it's a place that people can just spout off without really any accountability. But at the same time, I think we're remiss if we don't use our social media as a tool. So we can disable comments. We can disable comments on individual posts. I don't know what everyone's thought is, or if you have a thought. But I think we're missing an opportunity to not use that. And I don't think negative comments should be a reason to not do it.
Mhm.
But if we're going to allow commenting, then there has to be a process for responding, because you can't just let the comment fester and you can't just delete it. You have to respond to it. So we don't have to make that decision today,
Yeah.
but I think it's something we need to just be thinking about, because there's an opportunity to use social media. We just have to be kind of methodical on how we do it. Because it's so many, we can make so many impressions and attract so much potential interest. And we have all this great content. I mean, it really lends itself to putting these vignettes out there.
Yeah.
That's how we're gonna change opinions, you know?
Yeah. I think if we're gonna go down a path of picking when we have comments, when we don't have comments, just go no
No
comments.
comments.
Because I don't want it to become a time suck on either you or Miles to respond
Well,
to
and
comments.
it can, and then you're obsessing about it.
Yeah.
You know? It's-
Yeah, social media is a great spot for people to spout off.
Mhm.
Speaking from experience, half the time they're serious, half the time they're being
Mhm.
sarcastic. So I think if we put stuff out on social media, we leave the commenting off, and then encourage. I mean, I always encourage people to reach out to
Mhm.
us directly if they have a problem.
And if
Because we
they
can help
truly
them.
have a concern, that's
Yeah.
what they should do.
Yeah.
Putting it out on social media doesn't do anything.
Yeah.
So,
So I would say, a social media footprint would be good for us, and direct comments to us, not onto social media.
well, and maybe there can even be some posting with that verbiage, and maybe we push that to an email versus so then it remains kind of a private
Yeah.
conversation. Because obviously you want to be conscious of problems, but you also have to be able to offer some type of resolution or solution. And
Mhm.
oftentimes if somebody got stranded in Chicago last week and decided to spout off, what do you want us to do now about that? We really can't. We probably couldn't have done a whole lot at the time
Yeah.
either, but,
Yeah.
you know, I've always said it's not the problem, it's the solution, and how is it addressed, and especially when it comes to customer service, because people don't want to hear the obvious, you know, they just want to get home.
Yeah.
So, but I would agree. I think, you know, it can always change, but I just think that we're missing an opportunity to not be a little bit more active on social media and have a plan for using it as a tool to tell our story.
Should we meet outside of this meeting to kind of workshop that idea a little bit more?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'd appreciate your input,
Okay.
for sure. Anybody else have any other questions?
No, probably just a comment. Anytime you take a, you know, web presence, whatever, it needs to be current. It can't be archaic.
Well, and I think Miles has already learned, I think you had a RFP that had to go out there on a certain date, and we were able to get that up, and it was, you know, very easy. Whether it's Karen and I doing it, or at some point here when we get the full website built out, we'll give Miles the 101 on the content management system. 95% of what he would want to do with changing text or a photo or putting a link on is just point and click stuff, and that's the beauty of the Wix platform. But 100%, the other thing that's on my to-do list is to get with Gordon and update the county page so that it has a little bit more fluidity to what we're doing on our website. And again, to Dylan's point, general aviation, because if you Google Manistee Airport, that county page is near the very top. And so I think if people are going there as their first impression for the airport, it should have some continuity with what we're doing. And Gordon said, just provide him with, you know, he's happy to have content provided that he doesn't have to generate on his own. So, you know, it's just going to kind of be the main things. But to Jeff's point, all that information needs to be consistent across the board. And that's all in our control.
Okay.
Anything else? If not, thank you all. Have a great rest of your Monday.
Thank you,
And
Mark.
please reach out if you have any other questions or comments. I value your input. You want me to go poke Tyler and let him know when you're ready for him?
You know, I texted him, but
Give Tyler 30 seconds, see if he comes here.
yeah.
We can't approve the minutes. While we're waiting for Tyler, we have minutes in front of us, right? Yeah, we have minutes in front of us. Hopefully everybody had a chance to review the minutes, and if there are no changes to present, I would appreciate a motion to approve the minutes.
I can make that motion.
Thank you, George.
I can second.
Thank you, Michael. Any further discussion?
Yeah.
All right, all those in favor, please say aye. Any opposed? Okay, we have approved minutes from June 15th, 2026. Moving on to the treasurer's report.
Okay, so in front of you, you have the June 2026 accounts payable, your bills that you need to approve. The corporate flight management is for June, which you submitted that, right? Yeah. So, it's pretty standard. There isn't really anything of concern unless someone has some questions about that. And then there's also the June 2026 revenue and expenditure report. The one thing that I will say you just have to keep in mind is that year-to-date balance at the bottom, that negative 229,000. I know 180,000 of that is reimbursable grants that we're waiting for. So we'll just have to, and then we met with the budget and we kind of went over some of that. So we can talk about that when we get to the, and then there is the trial balance, which is a snapshot picture of where we were at on June 30th. But if you had any questions on any of it?
Miles, why do we have two line items, fuel, Orchard Beach fuel and Blarney Castle fuel? Are we reimbursing them for some and not paying directly, or you know what's going on there?
Yeah, Blarney Castle's, for diesel,
Okay,
and then Orchard Beach does pay for the pickup fuel, and then we reimburse them for that.
okay.
For the, kind of the yellowish green, Dodge pickup.
Airport vehicle.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
All right, makes sense. Any questions on the financials? None, I would appreciate a motion to approve the financials.
So moved.
Thank you, Jeff. Thank you, George. You better have a roll.
Mr. Walker,
Yes.
Mr. Becker,
yes.
Mr. Dot,
Yes.
Mr. Schrader,
All right, moving on. Committee reports and discussion. Did you have anything else, Susan?
No.
Okay, thank you. Committee reports, the executive committee had a meeting. Miles, you want to walk us through those notes?
Yeah, so it's old business, we covered, update on leases and agreements, primarily, T-hangers. What we're looking at there is the, progress on payments, lease payments. So I think as of last week, things have improved, so we're, doing pretty well there. And then PFC application, just updated that the application's been formally submitted on June 23rd. So the FAA is in the process of reviewing that. We talked about the June meeting agenda under new business. Tyler gave us a review of the STEM program. I'm not sure where he's at this morning. And then discuss the proposed FY 2027 rates and charges schedule, which is later on in this month's agenda. And then had some miscellaneous items there. And I think that was it.
Questions for executive committee? All right. How about capital projects? No meeting?
No meeting. Yeah.
And the budget committee, we had a good meeting. I want to thank Susan and Lisa for coming over the county to talk through some things with us. And I think that we've got a pretty good draft budget at this point, right? So what else you got there?
So as Susan mentioned, we reviewed the 2026 end of year estimates. So something we're monitoring is, like Susan said, obviously the reimbursables, but then also the deficit that we're running right now, and how to manage that. Part of that is collecting revenue on the Contour, the hangar that Contour is leasing from the airport. So they've paid the balance since they've been occupying the building. We received payment for TSA and the new lease. So there was a catch-up payment of almost $4,000 for the difference between what they were paying and the new rate, going back to November 1st of 2024. T-hanger collections, things like that. But also just trying to monitor expenses. There were some expenses that, we didn't necessarily account for, or the unplanned, related to the transition, and some vehicle repairs and things like that. So, it is something that we're monitoring closely. We reviewed the proposed rates and charges schedule, and then had an opportunity to discuss the tentative budget that was presented last month. And then the county's Ways and Means Committee I guess, how does that, like, they considered the recommended budget
Yeah,
at their committee meeting.
and then we'll talk about it at the board meeting, but there's also the August 7th, 3:30.
Date for, when you get to come and give
Yeah,
the
you
spiel.
want to make sure you come to that. I believe it's August 7th at 3:30.
Yeah,
So
August 7th at 3:30.
that's pretty much when we'll have our final stuff put together. And where they'll recommend things like that. So you'll want to come in and make sure you're there to talk about why the airport needs what they're requesting and,
Field any questions.
yeah.
Yep.
So then after that, you should definitely have an answer as to what the board is thinking, and then you have your board meeting in September, that would be when you would wanna. So let's say they don't give you what you're requesting and they say, we're gonna give you a little less, it still gives you time to have another budget meeting to sit down and discuss that, and then present that in September to your board. But you should definitely have an answer on the 7th.
Okay,
All right.
yeah, so we'll anticipate hopefully approving the airport's budget at the airport meeting in September.
Okay.
And that was kind of the extent of the budget committee meeting, yep.
Questions on the budget? Does it make sense to send the draft budget out? Is it in here?
I had provided it last month,
Okay,
um,
and there's been no changes.
no,
All right. So still, windows to ask questions about the budget if anybody's
Mhm.
got them, interested in it. Anything else? Budget? Committee?
I don't have anything.
Miles, has done a lot of work getting into the nitty gritty parts of the budget, figuring out where things need to be and where things need to go. So I know you've been doing a lot of research and work and combing through documents and literally measuring rooms. So thank you for that. I know that's a lot. All right, jumping into new business here, we got the Manistee Area Chamber of Commerce Leadership Program. Miles, is interested in taking part of that program. Manistee Area Chamber of Commerce, puts together a cohort every year, with local people that are interested in learning more about how our community works and the benefits of collaboration, and there's some leadership skills involved, and it's a great way to get to know all the moving parts of our community. So thank you for your interest in wanting to take part in the program. Do you have anything else you wanted to talk about?
No, just that I was interested, I took some of the information off their website and put it in a thing here and, you know, yeah, just asking for the board support to apply, and participate in the 9-month program.
Yeah. I did reach out to Carmen and inquire about, government rate as we talk about needing more money from the county. So, there is a scholarship available that we're gonna apply for. I hopefully will be successful with that. But, with this application, if we approve it today, understand there's a $1,350, up to, $1,350 tuition part that we would be paying, so.
Do you know when the program starts?
September.
So most of the expense will go into next year,
Mhm.
next year's budget. That'll be prorated.
It's a one-time fee.
Yeah, but I will accrue
Uh,
it until next fiscal year.
accounting terms.
Yeah, that's how that works with any dues or any things like that that you have that carries over into next year. So this $1,350, like, if you don't get the scholarship, like $200 might be applied to this year, and then the rest of it goes to next year, just so you keep that in mind when you're thinking about that.
Questions?
I think it's a great thing. We've had people do it at the county. So,
Sometimes two in a
yeah.
year.
it's a way to get out and meet people and do different things, so it's great,
A little better understanding of what's
Right.
happening.
for sure.
Yeah.
All right, I seek a motion to approve, Miles' application to the program.
So moved.
Thank you, Jeff.
Thank you.
Thank you, George.
Or
Matt?
Mitchell.
Either
Whoa.
one.
George, Mike, sorry.
Either.
You guys can arm wrestle over it. All right, I guess we need a roll call for that money.
Mr. Becker?
Yes.
Mr. Dunn?
Yes.
Mr. Schrader?
Yeah.
Mr. Walker?
Yes. All right, sharpen your pencils, Miles. Going to class.
Yeah. Next up, so the NDOT's Office of Aeronautics, they're able to calculate the economic contribution of the airport to the area by the airport filling out they have a community benefits assessment worksheet. So I did partner with Andrew Stafford at the chamber on preparing the worksheet and then sorting through the economic contributions report to highlight the key items presented. So I did attach, or in the packet, there's the graphic that shows 5 key items. So one is the total passengers. That includes the GA and the airline passengers. So that number is 26,431. We had a total operations count of 3,749. So that's the total for takeoffs and landings combined. Total economic impact of 22,260,170. So that's the total market value of the services provided by the airport. There's 23 on-airport employment positions with an average annual wage of approximately 74,400. However, a total of 94 jobs across Manistee County are supported by the airport operations. And then for the return on investment, so every dollar returns about $19.78. So on the graphic, there's an explanation on how that's calculated. So, and then this is the next thing is the economic contributions report that shows airport characteristics, the total operations, total passengers, capital expenditures. So I do, for calendar year 26, I do expect there to be some capital expenditures because of the runway project. And then it has the chart where a lot of the numbers came from. And then there's a chart about the tax contribution. So it is using 2024 dollars. They're calculating the contributions.
So Thor, you're gonna want to hit some of these points. This is something, as a commissioner, simple, it's in your face, tells you everything you kind of need to know why you need to support.
Yeah. Yeah, I think for me too, it's a good baseline for kind of, when I started and to see how the years progress, they're data points that you can track every year. So yeah, just wanted to present that, if there were any questions. So,
Thanks, Miles.
all right.
Thanks for that comment.
On the next.
Rates and fees?
Okay, so I just want to introduce the rates and fees schedule or rates and charges schedule for the next fiscal year 2027. So it's to garner feedback from the board and from users. So as Dylan mentioned earlier, I've done a lot of research, did a detailed review of the airport's operating budget, and then reviewed comparable airports' rates and charges to establish what's being proposed. So establishing rates and charges to be as financially self-sustaining as possible, but with regard to the impact it could have on operational levels. It's certainly a challenge, but it's necessary. So it was presented to the executive and budget committees, and then I plan to seek approval at next month's meeting.
So would the hangar rentals take effect October 1st or January 1st?
Should be reflect the fiscal year, so October.
Well, you want to make sure that we get letters out to the tenants. You're going to be changing these rates as of October 1st. So.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think this rates and fee schedule is more reflective of the services that we provide to the aviation community and more importantly, the costs that we incur providing those services. So the market moves and we need to move with it. I think this reflects trying to keep up with that, especially as we approach the county asking for help to make ends meet.
Yeah, I think.
Go ahead.
So it is important. So later on in my director's report, I did add some monthly statistics that I plan to hopefully update every month at the meeting. But it is important because it helps us measure activity. The rates and charges could affect that. Obviously, there are other factors that could as well, such as, just things out in the world. So I think those, being able to track those things is important as we try to set rates that are help us be as financially self-sustaining as possible. So.
All right. Questions, rates and fees, rates and charges. Great. Overview of the essential air service selection process.
All right. So this will be my first time going through a process like this, but I did find some information from previous times. And so I put that down on the sheet and then updated it with some of the more current information. So in some conversation with the DOT, I had asked, when the RFP would go out. So they anticipate sometime early next year, maybe January. When that comes out in January, I'm not sure, but that would kind of affect the timeline going forward as far as, how long the carriers have to respond. Once the response period is closed, getting the proposals back, reviewing them, that type of stuff. And then the amount of time that the DOT takes to make their final determination. And then hopefully giving, enough time for whatever carrier is selected to transition to the field and the airport. So the DOT selection criteria, it's listed here, but also on the DOT's Central Air Service web page, and then local community preferences. So I'll come back to that in 1 second. There's a chart. So this is available on the DOT's website that shows the essential air service communities in Michigan and Wisconsin. So it shows what their subsidy rates are, who the carrier is, their contract start and end dates, where they fly or what their destinations are, what aircraft they use, all that kind of stuff. And then also just an overview of the program and the basic essential air service, what that means. And then also the alternate essential air service as well. So just some information about the EAS and just some of the defined terms and stuff. So local community preferences, that's kind of, those are the things that are important to us as we evaluate the proposals. So there's a list here of things that, could be things that we consider. It can be added to. We can, you could rate them, say, this is probably the most important. So priority wise, you can identify your top 3 or top 7 or whatever. So just wanted to offer an opportunity for, it's pretty early in the time frame, but just to get people thinking about it. And as you're out in the community, you can talk to folks and try to get an understanding, kind of what the kind of consensus might be out there. I think the survey data that we get from through MS Creative, I think will be important too. I think it's pretty well timed getting that out here soon, and then hopefully get responses back. That'll help us evaluate some of the community preferences as well. So,
has Denver been taken over by Key Lime, or is Key Lime the parent company from Denver?
yeah, it's kind of like Contour Airlines as the parent company of corporate flight management. It's very similar type of arrangement.
I'm assuming that's a typo for Muskegon, the one seat.
Yeah, their table must be. Yeah. Yeah, I copied and pasted this from the DOT's website. So.
All right. Stephanie, good morning. How you doing?
I'm doing well. Good morning.
Good. Hey, you got any comments on our timeline for next round of selection on
Actually,
EAS?
No, I think Miles is doing a good job getting out ahead of it, and I think the big thing, and he's kind of mentioned it there, is you considering what you want to do. You've gone to the RJ service. We're going to have the findings from the runway and terminal study to you in the next couple weeks. So I think all these things are going to come together well for you for consideration.
so we're going to want to have alternate essential as opposed to essential because of the ability to attract, no different than what we did when we got Contour, the higher cost of subsidy, correct?
I think so. I'm having conversations. I am not well versed in essential air service. I know enough to be dangerous, so I'm talking to our crew to see if they can give you any additional support on that.
Well, because otherwise, I think that was one of the fueling factors. If I remember correctly, if we had essential air service, it'd be more up to the DOT.
Right. I mean, and you got to be cautious what they do. Unfortunately, we watched that play out up in Ironwood to the fact where DOT literally held it until a week before service was supposed to change. And so it made things a bit of a nightmare. I think you guys experienced a little bit of that too. Not quite as bad as Ironwood, but close.
Yeah, but ours was self-inflicted.
All right. Any other questions, comments on air service selection process? I think we're gonna have some fun through it, so. All right. Thank you. Airport directors report.
All right. So we'll start with projects. So as I mentioned previously, formally submitted the application on June 23rd. We're still collecting on our existing application. So once PFC application number 2 is approved, we'll need to amend and close that one out, our existing one. So any collection overage of our first application with the amendment will go towards application 2, so it could essentially speed up the collection of application 2. So, and with service the way it's been going, you know, I think last month's PFCs collected was like 4,500. So obviously it's somewhat seasonal because with higher traffic in the summertime versus the winter.
Will the third application be similar to the second application?
Potentially, the list of projects, you know, it depends on how if you're seeking reimbursement for projects that have already happened,
Okay.
which will have some costs related to the runway safety area grading that we didn't put on this one because the project's not complete.
Okay.
So, you could collect on future projects, but all that can be looked at, so.
All right.
And Miles, if I could, real quick, just Dylan, for the board's benefit, you know, the challenge is if you collect after you've done a project, then it's a known number, makes it a lot easier for tracking and project-specific elements. But you can collect for future projects. The key criteria, though, is it has to start usually within 3 years. So, you know, if there's something that we know is coming, like if you decide to pursue the runway extension, that's something that you could put into a new application. We do an estimate of what we think it's going to cost, and then you can start collecting, but you've then got to be in a position to pull the trigger on starting and executing within 3 years as the requirement. So again, there's some strategy to figuring out what goes into the next application.
Yeah, Texley Alpha would probably be one that we talk about for the future application, but.
All right. Thank you for that context.
Hangar door replacement. So we have the sponsor contract, construction contract, construction administration contract all in place. So we've talked about putting together a meeting, like a pre-construction meeting, just to figure out lead times for materials and if construction can start this year. We'll see. Versus the spring of 2027, but I'm still anticipating some construction taking place or starting in spring of 2027. So that's exciting.
Is everything been ordered and paid for then at this point?
No.
No. Okay.
No. Let's get to pay. So working on the easements with consumers for them to relocate their power line that's in conflict with grading work. So schedules and closures to relocate that are still TBD.
I'm assuming they're just gonna plow in a new line at some point,
That's right.
and we need to be closed for them to plow in a new line.
If it's still inside the safety area, yeah.
How long is that gonna take?
But
We push it till October, November?
I would think a few hours.
yeah, I don't know.
Okay.
All that, you know, still to be determined, because you have the consumer's work, but then you also have the grading work to be finished afterwards, after their line's relocated, and that's probably more the.
If they plow it in, there is no grading.
We can't lower the grade right now because we would expose the electrical. So there's still I guess a hump in the grade in the safety area that is designed to be flattened out once the electrical line's relocated.
So everybody's prioritizing not doing this during the busiest part of the airport season,
Right?
Let's hope.
Yes.
Well, do
I
we have
mean,
a say in that?
Probably at consumer's discretion to some degree, I would assume.
I mean, part of it is the consumer's agreement did not have any of the clauses that are required. So we're working with consumers to make sure the airport's interests are protected in the easement. And, that's not, they're not being super receptive.
Do you have
So that-
Gus, do you have Gusted's contact?
Yes. Yep. So we're going back and forth, about what needs to be included in the easement.
Okay.
So that's what's taking the time.
At this point, I'm okay that it's taking a while because I don't want to close the airport
Right.
this summer.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So. All right. The Eagle funding, so, we did publish the RFP for the ARP truck cleanout on July 8th, so that's posted on our website. We also sent it out to, the companies, some of the companies that do that kind of work. So responses are due by, July 31st. And then Stephanie, I don't know if you want to talk about the, runway extension study and the terminal study for an update. really
Sure.
quick.
I can give you a quick update. The studies themselves are wrapping up this week. We're planning to QC them next week and then have them to you the first week of August for review. Everything on the runway side looks very promising. We feel very confident it's going to be a document you guys can stand behind that shows that there's definite need. The terminal building also has substantial justification. That one is a little more dependent upon FAA criteria. I know there's certain things that we know that the traveling public is looking for additional space. FAA themselves may not be overly excited about that. So we've tried to craft the report accordingly to support what we know they're more aligned with and build that out accordingly. So should have all of that to you. I'm hoping by the first, what's the first, second, 3rd or 4th of August.
All right. Thank you for that update, Stephanie. You know, it would be a great time to clean out the fire truck is when the airport's closed for the power line. Just a thought.
Yeah,
Okay.
we'll see if we can coordinate it. So operations and maintenance didn't have any, airport incidents or accidents to report on. Our periodic inspection, the electronic document review started July 6th. We're expecting our inspector to be on site July 28th. So since meeting with the city on the expansion of their water treatment building, just on kind of the footprint and kind of what that would look like, I've not had any other discussion with them on that. So leases, T-hangers, so we're progressing pretty well on the payments for that. And then we're, reviewing the leases for just the structure of the leases. Marketing, so MS Creative gave us an update. Car rental update, so their rentals were, so I did receive the data for June. I think just because of the timing of the of our board meeting and then when they typically issue that, so they had 148 rentals with 627 rental days. So
Keeps jumping up.
yeah.
They have a pretty good variety of cars.
It seems like it. I mean,
Somebody in town was complaining, all they have is SUVs and full-size vehicles. And you can only drop them off and pick them up here. You can't take them to an outside destination and leave it.
That all-
Another enterprise.
That all really depends on
Yeah.
their fleet,
What's
what
going
they've
on.
got on the books. As far as the cars being
Yeah,
available,
I thought they had a pretty
there's
good
a
variety.
spread. I mean, it's like any other
Yeah,
depends on what's on the lot when you get there,
Yeah.
so.
And they do shuttle cars between, locations, in Cadillac and Traverse City.
Yeah.
So. So air service update, so month over month, this is a new piece of data. I guess I'm portraying it a little different. It was always there. But June of last month's June, we had 1,800 seats available, inflamed 886, deflamed 993. So 886 divided by 1,800 is 49.2% load factor. We had more seats than June of 2025, and then just slightly more inflamed passengers. So year-to-date enplanements, so through June, we're 600-700 more enplanements compared to last year-to-date. 6 cancellations in June, mainly due, to weather here and O'Hare, and then some crew reasons. There's 120 scheduled flights, so 72% on time, 23% delay, and then 5% cancel. This is the more raw form of the data presented. It's the chart that has inflamed, deplaned on it. And then airport monthly statistics. So this is the first time I'm including this, but it shows fueling. So it shows the 2 different types of fuel, the Jet A and the 100 low lead. And then there's 3, I suppose, recipients of that fuel, the retail, which is kind of your itinerant or transient aircraft, your airline, and then the FBO, their flight training, and the fuel that goes into their 2 airplanes. So you have the total. We did pump more fuel this last June than we did in 2025. So about 2,500 gallons, or 18% more, and then also showing the total operations per month. So there is a slight decrease in June of 26 versus June of 25 in the total operations. And then it shows a breakdown by the type. So some of our our 2 biggest users are single engine piston and then the jet. So, and that does include the itinerant and the airline operations. So, and then that is it, my director's report.
Thank you. Questions for Miles?
Yeah, I don't see, Tyler did say he would be here in 10 or be able to join online, but I don't see him online.
Okay.
And I'm not sure if he's here. So,
Do you have anything on Orchard Beach update that you need to share for us?
no, I mean, in the agendas that I passed out and in my email, I did send out the presentation that Tyler would have gone through regarding the AOPA, You Can Fly High School Aviation STEM program. So I will talk to Tyler and figure out when we can have him present on that.
What, remind me, he was looking for just a voice of support for him to pursue putting this program together?
I think to some degree, yes. What we were trying to do this month was just have him give a overview of what the program is. It is something that, he seems to be passionate about. He's still going, he's trying to achieve a master's degree. So he is working with the Manistee area public schools. And then I think at some point, he'll want to, or he'll need to utilize some resources of the airport. So it'll be trying to figure that out. But he wasn't quite prepared to make that request yet, because he's still working through, getting the program off the ground with the school, so.
Good thing.
All right. Well, we'll look forward to catching up with Tyler when he's available. Comments by authority members. Start with you, Jeff. Got anything?
Last week I was at a fire chiefs meeting, and made me think that maybe, because we got a fire truck here, if that's not something we periodically ought to, I don't know if Miles, but it might be Tyler.
Hey,
Might be the guy, because I would assume Tyler's probably the one operating the fire truck, I would assume, correct? Fire truck?
Yes.
Yeah, you guys would be the ones running that? If it ever, yeah, so that might be, I just mentioned, last week I was at a fire chiefs meeting. They have, I believe, 6 a year, I think. And it might be something you might wanna touch base on, just maybe some value added, may not, but, every once in a while, we do have a drill out here too, so. It wouldn't be a bad thing to get involved in that a little bit, maybe touch base with the emergency manager, Alvin, Rochelle, and, go from there.
Revenue sharing grant. When's the next application due? That's September timeframe, right?
Probably.
Okay. Is it on your radar?
It is,
Okay, great.
I think it is September, so yeah, next month I was planning on having, some projects, to consider, for that, so we can, send in the application and everything.
Okay.
Safety related.
Of course.
Of course. Anything else? Michael?
I got nothing.
George?
I think since I started, now we got a lot better view of where we're going and what we wanna be in.
Yeah. Great.
Yeah.
You got anything else? Susan? Lindsay? I don't have anything. Stephanie, do you have anything else for us?
No, I don't. Thank you.
Okay, thanks. Cindy, do you have anything for us?
Nope, I don't think I do.
Okay, great. Thank you for getting on today. We are gonna backtrack a little bit. Tyler's here. So, do you have anything for us from Orchard Beach Aviation first?
Nothing from Orchard Beach other than status quo at this point.
Okay, we did briefly talk about the STEM program, and we have some general comments of encouragement, positive that we like it. But is there anything else you wanted to go over briefly for us? Just a high-level overview of the program?
Yeah, so I mean, I'm sure you looked at the slides, but it's basically just a 4-year program. We're gonna be talking with Principal Morgan in August. It's gonna be kind of what we need going forward, what Tyler Weber needs to provide, what Principal Morgan's going to want to see from Orchard Beach and the airport. So we'll dial those in a little bit more next month. We're looking to hopefully just start with freshmen, work their way up. They're going to be very involved with implementing programs from EA, Young Eagles, all the programs that those involved. They kind of oversee those programs. And then also there's a possibility for another program for maintenance as well, where we can actually get scholarships and grants for a select few individuals while they're a sophomore to be able to do 3 years as getting their hours for maintenance to be an A&P day one after graduation, to where they can go out into the field. So we've been looking at grants, looking at scholarship opportunities. That's all just kind of compiled into this STEM program that we're going to be able to hopefully get moving forward here relatively soon. Okay. So, do you guys got any questions about the program, or?
I wish you well, and hopefully you get some traction.
Would this be available to all schools in Manistee County or just exclusively to Manistee?
It's gonna be high school, freshman through senior, and so depending on, I think we're gonna launch it with the Manistee High School. Let's see how that goes, kind of as pilot program. And then depending on, if we can get at least 5 students for the Perkins grants, be able to help improve, maybe even have a simulator here at the airport, which then is also community, available to the community. So if that does well, then we can start to expand before they think there's only 2 students. We can hit that 5 student mark each year, then we will certainly look to expand.
Well, West Shore College is always there as well, but you have to get enough numbers to make it work for them.
Yeah. Yeah. So we're looking at just starting with kind of one high school and seeing where it goes, and if it looks like it can get some traction, then certainly be looking for other partners to bring into the program, maybe even hire them down the road.
Have you had a chance to maybe talk with Onekama Consolidated Schools on this?
I was going to, I was directed that way, but just seeing with, it's limited resources, I was looking to kind of just make a proposal.
Yeah.
In a way that we can just.
Well, the reason why I asked that is because I don't know, kids their junior and senior year and take college classes out at the college, where they can do like different programs where it's not college related, like where you're looking for, but, so this might be right in their category that they already follow that process,
Okay.
so.
Yeah, I can
There's some kids that aren't necessarily wanting to continue like that college path, but maybe might be interested in something like this. Already their junior and senior year, their classes are limited at the school, and that's a lot of them go out and do that, or maybe they'll do like a mechanics thing for 2 years, or the police thing for 2 years, or something along those lines. So that might fit well into what Onekama already does for their students. Able to maybe get them in a little sooner, but then like carry it through their junior and senior year, because they would have those hours in the afternoon, or if they don't really have anything going on. So,
I think Onekama's been a very collaborative unit.
I say that because my daughter went to Onekama. She really to get into the nursing program right out of high school, which is very unheard of because you have to have all your prereqs out of the way. They worked with her sophomore year, and she was able to do her anatomy 1 class. She left school at like 10 o'clock every Tuesday or Thursday or whatever. So they're willing to work with the students interested in, which I think a smaller school has more of the capacity to do that than a school.
The superintendents meet periodically. I think there's a schedule. Now, whether or not they're all in attendance, that's a whole nother question. But you could invite them here for their meeting as well and give them your pitch.
Yep.
Or get them all with one shot.
Yeah, we talked with, got one, and it gave the thumbs up, the meeting with Principal Morgan. She's super excited about it. I was more just dial that in. And I will certainly also reach out to Onekama, I think. They're within this area where, we can make things work, so.
Well, and the bus goes right on by here every day to the West Shore College, so.
Yeah.
Used to be an airport, no, not
So,
gravel.
All right. Anything else? I'll send you Dan Messer's contact.
What's that?
I'll send you Dan Messer's contact.
Perfect.
Anybody else have anything? All right, no further business. I will close the meeting. Thanks a lot.